and Vice Minister Xu Hongcai of the Ministry of Finance. Minister Liu, please. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. It's my pleasure to have this face-to-face meeting with you before the two sessions. On behalf of the Ministry of Finance, I wish to thank you for your long-standing attention and support to our work. I also wish to take this opportunity to give you a brief review of our work in 2021. 2021 was a landmark year in the history of the party and the country. In the face of complex and severe domestic and international situation and challenges, the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, united and led the people of all ethnic groups to forge ahead, and we scored new and major achievements in various undertakings. The Ministry of Finance adheres to the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, bears in mind the priority of the country. We followed the decisions and arrangements of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, earnestly implemented proactive fiscal policies, and did a solid job in maintaining stability in 6 areas while providing protection in other 6 areas, which contributed to the fostering of a new development paradigm and high-quality development. The national general budget revenue was 20.25 trillion yuan, an increase of 10.7% over the previous year. We met the target we set last year. The general budget expenditure was 24.63 trillion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 0.3%, which provided solid financial support for the 14th five-year plan to get off to a good start. First, we strengthened the adjustment of fiscal policy and promoted the sustained and stable recovery of the economy. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed the importance of macro adjustment and effective governance in leveraging the advantage of socialist market economy. In 2021, we strengthened cross-cyclical adjustment, enhanced funding coordination efforts, maintained the necessary scale of fiscal expenditure, and kept the economic performance within an appropriate range. New local government special bonds of 3.65 trillion yuan was added, and we adjusted the pace in accordance with the economic performance, which has helped to stabilize growth and strengthen the weak links. Targeted tax and fee reductions were implemented. New reductions registered 1.1 trillion yuan, helping enterprises tiding over difficulties. The direct channeling mechanism of financial funds was expanded, and 2.8 trillion yuan of funds directly benefited enterprises and the people. At the same time, central government followed austerity measures, with its expenditures declining, and the savings were used to support local governments in ensuring people's livelihoods. The proactive fiscal policy has been more effective and sustainable, which effectively helped to offset the downward pressure and stabilize the macroeconomy. Second, we supported the self-reliance and self-improvement of science and technology and promoted the optimization and stability of industrial and supply chains. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed that the new development paradigm features high-level self-reliance and improvement. We implemented the innovation-driven development strategy. We increased investment in science and technology. In 2021, the national science and technology expenditure was 0.97 trillion yuan, up by 7.2% year-on-year, which strongly supported the development of integrated circuits, new energy vehicles, and other industries and R&D efforts. On the other hand, we improved policy mechanisms, reformed and improved the management of scientific research funds of the central government, introduced new preferential tax and fee policies, and launched policies to reward and subsidize SMEs, and we encouraged the research institutions and personnel to increase their vitality. Third, we continued to increase the investment in people's livelihoods, and the people's sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security have been significantly enhanced. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed that the people in the country, and our goal is to win the support of the people and deliver a better life for the people. The Ministry of Finance has always adhered to the people-centered development philosophy, taking into consideration both the needs of the people and the availability of financial resources, and continued to strengthen basic and inclusive livelihood efforts. In 2021, the national education expenditure was 3.76 trillion yuan, up by 3.5% of the previous year. The social security and employment expenditure was 3.39 trillion yuan, up by 4%. The health expenditure was 1.92 trillion yuan, a relatively high growth in 2021 on the high basis of 2020. The scale of expenditure was basically the same with the previous years, and the implementation of various livelihood policies was effectively guaranteed. Fourth, we promoted the coordinated development of urban and rural areas and further optimized the development pattern. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed that coordination will help development. It is also our goal of development and a gauge to measure our development. We fully leveraged the role of transfer payments to support the balanced and coordinated development between urban and rural areas. In 2021, the central government's transfer payments to local governments exceeded 8 trillion yuan. We focused on the areas of financial difficulties and underdeveloped areas and enhanced the financial support for the coordinated development of urban and rural areas. Major assistance policies were kept stable, poverty alleviation achievements were consolidated, and were followed up with rural revitalization efforts. Coordinated regional development was leveled up and improved so as to ensure higher quality development. Fifth, we focused on strengthening ecological protection and continued to promote environmental protection, featuring blue skies, clean waters, and green mountains. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed that green mountains and clean waters are as valuable as gold and silver. The Ministry of Finance adheres to the Xi Jinping thought on environmental protection. With a set of measures including fiscal fund guidance, tax adjustment, and government procurement, we supported resources conservation and environmental protection and promoted green and low-carbon transformation and development. In 2021, the national fiscal input in ecological and environmental protection was 821 billion yuan. We introduced an implementation plan to support the establishment of ecological protection in the Yangtze River Delta region. We also strengthened measures of taxation to improve relevant efforts. Sixth, the reform of fiscal and taxation reforms was further deepened. General Secretary Xi Jinping stressed that a sound taxation measure will help to ensure a balanced growth and long-term stability of the country. the ministry gave full play to the role of reform, and we advanced relevant taxation and fiscal reforms to put in place a modern system of taxation. We advanced tax legislation such as the value-added tax, further deepened the reform of the budget management system, conducted post-evaluation of transfer payment and major expenditure policies, introduced regulations on the management of state-owned assets, and promoted the launch of an integrated budget management system in all provinces. At the same time, special campaign was carried out to address 4 types of violations of laws and regulations, including the unlicensed operation of accounting firms, and the supervision of financial management was further strengthened. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, 2022 marks our efforts to attain the second centenary goal, and the 20th CPC National Congress is about to be convened. Therefore, it is important to do a good job in our fiscal work. We will continue to follow the Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, uphold relevant principles of 2 upholds, keep in mind the top priority of the country, ensure targeted and sustainable policies to advance the sound development of the economy and stability of the country, so as to embrace the success of the 20th CPC National Congress. And now I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Thank you, and now the floor is open to questions. Please identify your affiliation before raising the question. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，各位好，中央广播电视总台、中央电视台记者。我的问题是，在中央经济工作会的时候，要求2022年积极的财政政策要提升效能，更加注重精准和可持续。所以想请您来介绍一下具体内容，以及财政政策将如何靠前发力。谢谢。
谢谢您的提问。积极的财政政策要提升效能，更加注重精准、可持续，是党中央、国务院统筹国内外形势做出的重大的决策部署，贯穿了新发展理念的要求，也体现了稳字当头、稳中求进的工作总基调。提升效能，就是要统筹财政资源，强化预算编制、审核、支出和绩效管理，推进绩效结果和预算安排有机衔接，加强与货币政策等协调，确保宏观政策稳健有效。注重精准，就是要聚焦制造业高质量发展，聚焦中小微企业纾困，聚焦科技创新，实施新的更大力度的减税降费，进一步优化财政支出结构，落实过紧日子的要求，同时加强对基本民生、对重点领域、对地方，特别是基层的财力保障。增强可持续性，就是要统筹需要和可能安排支出，坚持在发展中保障和改善民生，不好高骛远、吊高胃口，适当确定赤字率，科学安排债务规模，有效防范化解风险。您问了这个财政政策